is perfect. Can you get out there?
Yeah, I just
No, that's. Let me push you up so you got room there. Here you go.
It's kind of bad. Do I in park?
No, let it in neutral because I got to move it around a little bit to fine tune it before I put it on the lift.
I need to move it around.
Yes. Thank you.
I'll just remember it's in neutral.
Yep. That was a big help.
Why would you do that without anybody sitting in it?
Because I'm just pushing you on the level ground. Sorry. There you go.
I've heard that before.
Never on level ground. Thanks. Love you. Well, we're getting rid of it, so you won't have to see it much longer. Well, it's back. The broken edge is in the shop. We're going to start by pulling the engine, figuring out what's wrong with it, maybe fixing it. I don't know. We'll see. But in either case, whether I fix the engine that's in it or replace it, this car is going to go get sold as soon as it's done. You know, after spending, I don't know, what was that, 3 months without it? I decided I really don't need it. And that would pay for the lift and pay it off. So that's what's coming up next. Oh, hello and welcome to Better Than Common Garage. I'm your host, I think, for the most part. No, that was stupid. You can really tell I'm not a frequent user of the lift. I always got to check and double check and recheck. Let's take a gander at the underside of this thing, shall we? Let me readjust here. Yeah, that's better. So this is my edge, or as I like to call it, the sledge. Put a receiver on it, and then the engine decided to let go. But she's really solid for around these parts. I mean, you can see the pinch weld and everything has got a little flake to it, but no, I mean, that's a super solid car. So, yeah, nothing to complain about back here. What about up here? A little leaky, but I mean, it's got 176,000 miles on it, so 173. It's got a Junkyard transmission in it. When I first got it, the torque converter was out, and it would only act up whenever the fluid was hot. So I took it back to the dealership I got it from, and they replaced it. They put it, well, I mean, they put a Junkyard tranny in it, but whatever, it's better than nothing. But it's been a good car right up until it wasn't. Famous last words, I know. So yeah, I'm gonna get this thing fixed up and move it on down the road. All right, back on this. As you can see, I've made a little bit of progress. The engine's out, as well as the transmission, the subframe. I had a guy come help me. That's an actual mechanic, unlike me, who is a pretend mechanic. And it was greatly appreciated. Thank you, Wes. But I got a little pile of parts there. Got some rubbish there, tools and whatnot. And I'm working on getting all this separated. Whoops. Working on getting all this separated. I have the exhaust off. Pulling the power takeoff unit next. And then undoing the bell housing bolts and hopefully separating the transmission from the engine. So we'll see. Might set you guys up on a time lapse here. Okay, that project is done. I think it's about half an ignorant pig to get off of there, but it's off. So now I can concentrate on the bell housing bolts, and if I can get the engine to spin over enough, I'll get the torque converter bolts off, but I have my doubts about being able to do that. So we'll give her a shot, see what we come up with. I might just pick you guys back up maybe once I got her separated. Try not to make this video too long. Well, I broke down and got out the old engine hoist. I figured this doesn't leak down near as quickly as the tractor does. Probably a little bit more safe. But it was quite the chore to get that thing unburied. So now I'm going to get back into unbolting stuff. Should be fun. All right, that went pretty all right. As you can see by the writing on this, it's a Junkyard trans. That happened right after I got it. And now it's gonna have a Junkyard engine too. And a Junkyard PTO. Or, yeah, I think that's what they call that. It's a cavernous hole in here though. Well, what we have here is your classic Junkyard engine. So this is a 2010. I can tell that it is by the way that it is. The guy said it had like 100,000 miles on it. It was in a front end collision, which also took out my oil pump housing here and put a hole in the oil pan, and it broke the manifold too. So I might have to do some bolt extraction there, it looks like. I don't know if you can see that. Well, yeah, there's a manifold bolt there that needs removed. So a little bit of fun on that. Let's see. Otherwise, it's pretty complete. They even gave me some injectors. Probably let all that stuff alone. I think I'm going to put a water pump in it. This should be pretty fun. Junkyard stuff. And here's the engine that came out of it. But she is she's tight. So maybe when we tear it apart, we'll see what went wrong. But right now I got to take this engine off the stand, put this engine on the stand, set this engine down on the floor so I can take off the parts I need to fix this one up, ready to go. So that's the next step. All right, so I should probably explain what's going on here. I need to take parts off my old engine, put on the new engine. I only have one engine stand. So my plan, I don't know how well it's going to work, is to take this engine and flip it up on its butt on that block of wood so I could access both the oil pan and the front and the top of the motor all at the same time. Now, in theory, that will work. But in reality, I don't know how well that's going to work out. I would just hang it from the engine hoist and just let it dangle there. Or, you know, ideally I would have 2 engine stands, but I didn't have one. But right now the engine hoist is in the way. My wife wants to come in and wash her car, so the engine hoist needs to be put back in the corner. So I need to get this thing stood up or dealt with somehow. So that's what I'm going to do right meow. Like a kitty cat. All nimby bimby. Yeah, that looks good. All right. So as you can see, that went fairly straightforward, successfully. I don't know how you want to say that. Yeah. So I'm going to get to tearing apart these motors and swapping over the parts. It's all pretty common stuff. I mean, they can't control how the engine comes in. Came in to the junkyard with a broken oil filter, adapter, the housing. Oil pan got hit. I imagine it probably broke the manifold too. But and unfortunately, these engines still aren't cheap even when you got to do work to them. This one cost me $1,000 at the junkyard, and I still have. Well, I mean, I got to take parts off my old motor and put on this one, and I'm going to put a water pump in this one before I even put it back in the car. So I figured it's a known common issue with these engines, and while it's out, I think it would be foolish to put it back in without, even if I am going to sell it. That way the new guy has a fresh engine with a fresh water pump. And I'll probably do the timing chain while I'm there also. Anywho, I think that's going to be it for tonight. I know she's under some tension. It looks to be like I got just a fuzz more gap there. Well, maybe not. Who am I kidding? Man, she's tight. Oh, it's pulling the rubber off of it. No point in breaking it on purpose. I know it won't do it. I need the right tool. Darn it. Get an A for effort though. And a D for giving up. I guess I'm stuck till tomorrow. All right, so made a little bit of progress getting I was able to get the pulley off. I had to make me a tool to do it. I didn't feel like going down to the local parts store and participating in the you buy this tool and we'll let you return it for free program. So I made this. This I have a big washer. I made it work once long ago, and some nuts and some bolts, and my 2-jaw puller part of it. Let's see if I can't make it work on this one. This pulley is different, just a fuzz, than that one. So we'll see how well it works on this one. It may not, but let's give it a shot. maybe this smaller one. Look at that. Well, I can't believe that worked, but it did. And you just washed it. So, yeah. And it was just enough, the back side of these bolts here could catch this lip on the other side. I don't have the right tool to get that off, but I was able to fudge my way through it with just what I had laying around here. Not that I recommend it, but that's sort of, I guess you would call that a farmer fix. Well, I think I'm going to call that a victory for the evening. Yeah, I might get into something else. We'll see. One last thing before I call her a night. I want to get this timing cover off and see what's behind door number 1. Size are those? 13. Nope. What are those? 12. Heck, that might be 10. I need my eyes checked. Yeah, that's definitely. Pry bar. No pry bar. Where's the pry? Easy. Huh. It's not what I was expecting. It's lucky. But I was sort of, I had in my mind, expected the timing chain to be junk and it popped off. I was cautiously optimistic, I'll put it that way, that was my issue. That the timing chain, the water pump failed. Well, I mean, the water pump did fail. Which I don't know how much slop there's supposed to be in there. I mean, I would imagine none, but I could see if they use the timing cover as a sort of like an outboard support. Because the way it is, all the stress of the timing chain pulls directly up on it. But I could see to where this may have jumped time, and I imagine that would have caused piston to valve interference had that happened. I don't know if it did. It could have. But that's the part I needed. I need the oil pan also. The timing cover, oil pan, oil pump, or not oil pump, oil filter housing, manifold. And then also I noticed that boss, their support for the alternator is missing. So I might have to, I'm going to have to figure out how to fab something up there, weld onto this block. This is that aluminum? Looks like aluminum. So anywho, got a fair bit more work to go. I think that's all I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to go mow. Something tells me that ain't right. All right, I've been pulling parts off the old motor, just trying to get everything ready to go. I want to show you what I found. I did pull a bearing cap off, thinking, you know, maybe, hey, I might be able to rebuild this junk and save it. Which, it doesn't look terrible. It's seen a little bit of trash, but all in all, not terrible. The crank is actually pretty smooth and I think could be polished out and saved. So that wasn't looking too bad. And then I'm like, well, I wonder if the top end's seen anything. So I came over here and popped off one of these cam caps. And let's see if I can get this off here. And I popped that off, and lo and behold, she's junk. Come on. A little hard to see, but you can see that big old groove in the cam cap. And I imagine it's not so bad it being on this part, but the head side is what's of concern, because there's no bearing there to replace. Once you get grooves in the head, I don't think there's a lot they can do for that. They can probably bore it out and put a bearing in it, but it's really not worth it. So yeah, I just been taking off the parts I need to put on to this motor, off of that motor. I got to take the oil pan off of this yet. The oil filter housing is actually not going to swap. There's a difference between the 2 years. So I got to try to find one of those. Got to try to weld that boss back on for the alternator and extract the bolt out of that hole there for that as well. And other than that, I've just been cleaning stuff. I had to clean the timing cover and the oil pan from that motor up so I can put it on that motor, because both of those are broke on that one, and then you take them from there, put them in there. So I had them in the parts washer. Just cleaned them up a little bit. Nothing, I didn't get real crazy with them. Tried to get all the milky stuff out. But something pretty interesting while I found when I was cleaning everything up is, look at this. That's just some of the trash I pulled out. That's that appears to be bearings from that water pump going bad. So that is the cause of the problem. I should have stopped driving it way sooner. That was dumb on my part. Cost me a lot of money and a lot of time. Learn from my mistakes. If it's leaking water, stop driving. Okay, little update. I've made some progress. I've got the exhaust manifolds off of the old engine, and I got the old manifolds off of the new Junkyard engine, and I have them swapped. If you remember, this side didn't even have a manifold on it, and this side's manifold, the heat shield and stuff was all crumbly and stuff, and I knew this one was better and gooder in every sense, so they actually came right off. Oh, and I also had to take the manifold off so I could get this bracket on. This engine apparently didn't have that. Yeah, so I'm about ready to tear into the insides of this, replace the water pump and timing chain, but here's the problem. I'm running out of memory on my phone, so as of right now, I'm going to cut this video off, and we're going to come back to this after I post this on YouTube. So that'll be it for a little bit here. I have a lot of prep work to do on this engine here. It's got a lot to go yet, but I'll have it done here directly. I got, of course, the lift has sat here for a couple months now with not really anything to go on it. The moment I put up my edge on here, I got, 6 projects lined up that need done. So I'm going to try to hustle up and get this done so I can get the lift free and continue working on other stuff. But that's how things go. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please do me a favor, like the video, share it. And I will see you next time. God bless.